Hello there, this is the wall hanging I'm going to show you how to make. I hope you enjoy it. Let's see where to find me.
This is my Cricut profile right here. My name is Cassie Cartmel and that's how you will find me. This is the project and it's called Sewing Wall Hanging, and these are the items that you will need. Now, when you are ready to go, you can click Make It. The only thing that I didn't cut out was the binding. You'll have to cut that out yourself, and that's 2¼ inches by the length of the fabric. So they generally have 40-inch bolts. So just do a 2¼ inch strip cutting that. So the first one is the cut fabric for the front or the back. It doesn't matter. The only thing that you can't cut as well on here is the quarters batting. Quarters batting is what you layer a quilt in between to give it some stabilization. So when you click on to continue, the Cricut Maker will connect, and the next stage is what kind of material are you going to use for this project. So take all this thing nice and slowly. So we're going to be using fabric. If you don't have, this is all my bookmark selection, and this is the poplar selection. So poplar is on here. But I don't know if this is poplar because I use all these settings. Maybe they could be different. I'm not sure. Let me know down below. But if you don't have the fabric setting, you can literally go on here and you can find it, or you can search for it. So we'll be doing fabric medium, like cotton. You select that, the rotary blade is already selected, and you go ahead and cut. So I'm going to cancel out of this. You'll be cutting it, and I'm just going to run through all of the parts. So this here is the backing for your wall hanging, and then number 3 is your little tabs in order to hang this up onto the dowel rod. And these are all fabric, and you do that exactly the same as I just showed you. And then this is the vinyl cut. So generally what I do with vinyl is I will move it to the center here, and I'll cut it a little bit bigger than this, and then I can stick some tape all the way around it because I just like to make sure it's definitely secure. Another thing with the writing is if you can read this and you're using an iron-on, it's not going to turn out great. You need to mirror it because we are adhering it to the back. So you place your iron on the vinyl side down, and then you're looking at the kind of like matte finish of it. So, and it cuts it in reverse. So then when you iron it on, it's the right way round. So at this stage, you should not be able to read the words, and I changed that just by clicking on this here. And then you would just click continue. Make sure that you place your vinyl in the way it shows on the screen as well. And then you would just go to everyday iron on, and then I always apply more pressure, and then this is the blade that you will be using. So let's see how to sew this.
Let's run through the parts that we need for this project. So it's the 9½ by 9½ fabric section, another one for the back, and then the quilter's batting that they use for quilting that gives it some stability. And then we've got the hanging tags, tabs even, and then the binding, and then also the vinyl. So first of all, we're going to do is adhere the vinyl to your front section. If you want to find the center of your fabric, just fold it over and then fold it over again, and then just finger press in the middle, and then that will give you like a crosshatch in order to place this into the center. Another little tip when you're getting into doing anything like this is whenever you're doing wording on something, whether it's embroidery or whether it's vinyl, you want to be careful of the fabric that you're using in the background. because what happens is if you're using something like this and then you put in words in front of it, this one isn't too bad because it's really highly contrast, but still some people may find this hard to read. So I would advise you to do it on more of a plain fabric, and then it's easier for people to read it. So I am going to place this down. I'm not paid or sponsored to create this video. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my Cricut press, or my borrowed Cricut press for my friend. And I am going to press start and do some pressure and some heat. And the settings for this is 315, and then it was the 30 seconds. We can't peel this off straight away. We have to let it cool down. So I'm going to leave this to one side while this cools. There are 4 tabs, and these are for hanging. And basically you are going to put both of them right sides together. And then from there, you're going to sew down each one and leave the top and bottom open. Once you have these both sewn into place, you're going to turn it right sides out. So you're going to push it through one of the ends. And then when it's completely out, you're going to press it. Snip off any of these frayed edges at all ends. You're also going to need a 10-inch dowel rod. I've cut this down. So once the vinyl is cooled down, you can then take away the plastic layer. Take the backing, so this is the backing, place it face down onto the table. Place your batting over the top of that. And then place the top over the top. Clip or pin this into place. And then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take this over to my sewing machine, and I'm just going to do a free motion echo stitch just around all of this wording. Now, an echo stitch is where you free motion around a particular motif or like an applique. So I'm just going to go around here and then just go around again. What I love about this is it's pressed down the fabric and it has made the wording stand out. It's given it that trapunto effect. And I also love this kind of quilting because there's no rules to it. You can just follow it all the way around and it gives it such a nice design. So if you've been wondering about doing free motion quilting, I do have other videos on my channel. I have over 500 videos on my channel, in fact, on sewing and quilting. So if that's something that you want to see, check out my channel by subscribing. We're going to take the tabs and we're going to fold them over. It's up to you, you can press. I think I'm going to leave them like that. Then fold this one over. And you're going to turn your work over. And obviously making sure that the lettering is facing the way you want it to, because you want the tabs to be up here. And you're going to place them like this. I know it seems a bit weird, but you are going to end up flipping them up like this after the fact. So we're going to place them down. These tabs are placed 1.5 inches across on both sides, and we are going to base stitch these about 1/8 of an inch, which is less than 1/4. You're going to need 40 inches of width of binding, which is the case of most bolts of fabric. They generally are a 40-inch width. To create a quilt binding, you're going to fold it in half and you're going to press it all the way down. You want these to still be folded back as we are doing this. So keep them flipped back, and then you're going to start. I might start at the side here, and you're going to leave a little bit of overlap here. And then you're going to start gripping, and you're going to start doing your binding. I have over 500 tutorials, like I said, and one of those tutorials is how to do quilt binding, how to finish it all off. Go onto my channel and search for quilt binding and you will find it. Once your binding is all complete on the front, you then flip it over and you're going to flip it to the back. And I'm going to do the same thing again. I'm going to grip this to the back. And you're still going to keep these flipped over. If you have no patience at all for binding, what I would recommend you do is use the same colour binding as the front and then use the same colour backing, and it's almost invisible, you can't see it, and use the same colour thread. Once your project is finished with the binding, you're going to flip it around and you're going to pull these tabs up, and then you are going to stitch them into place. This is the finished wall hanging. I hope you enjoyed the tutorial. Comment down below and like, and I'll see you in the next tutorial.